Hey guys, Bearded here. I am bringing you episode 3 of the Embark tutorial series. Today we're going to be covering the UI elements in the game and how to best interact with them, making sure everyone has a pretty decent understanding of what they have available to them and how to utilize it. So we're going to go ahead and jump in here and continue from our last save, which was the Embark series episode 2. And we're going to first start off by pausing the game, and we're going to look at the overlay panel, and then we'll dive in something else. I'm going to go ahead and pause the game. The first thing we're covering up here is the overlay panel. This normal mode is the mode that you'll be in most of the time while you're playing the game. This allows you to see and interact with all of the basic fundamental attributes and aspects of the game. All the workshops, all your workers, you can basically do pretty much anything from this panel that you want to do, with the exception of very specific items, like the military mode here. Inside the military mode, this will bring up nameplates for all enemies, neutral, and friendly characters. So you can see all of my characters here have their nameplates. The neutral animals have their nameplates, and the enemies have their nameplates. This will allow you to better prepare for attacks. When you know there's an attack coming, you can see which direction they're coming from and know how long they're going to be until they get to your base. The same thing with trades. Now, while you're in the military mode, there's some different options in here that are pretty important. One is this wear equipment button. If this wear equipment button is toggled on, it will be green. What that means is that any equipment that is assigned to your colonist, they will always wear it. They will not take it off for any reason unless you tell them to take it off. So they can do their jobs, they can work, they can sleep, they can eat, all while they're wearing their equipment. This next button here is Alert Squad. If you click this button, it alerts the squad that this button is attached to. So if I had a second squad, just because I click one squad doesn't mean that they're going to be alerted either. So what you can do is when you alert the squad, you can click on the squad panel and you'll notice that all of your workers that are in this squad, their names will be highlighted green. You can then right click on the ground and tell them to move to a place, and they will move wherever you tell them to go. And they will stay there until you give them another order or release them from Alert Squad. And then they'll go back to work. Another thing to note is that while you're in Alert Squad, you can select individual people and tell them to move. And then wherever you have told them to move last, when you alert the squad, they will run to that position. So I can tell them to go to work, then alert the squad, and they'll all run straight back to the last position I told them to be in for Alert Squad. The behavior here: aggressive, passive, and hold position. Hold position, they will move to a position and they will attack any enemies that are within their attack range. That can be a range of 1, a range of 2, or a longer distance if they have bows and arrows or arbalest or other ranged weapons. So if anything comes in their attack range, they will attack it. Aggressive, if they see an enemy, they will move to the enemy and then attack that enemy. Passive. Passive should work by them not doing anything. They will not move to an enemy. They will not attack it. They will not engage with an enemy. They will just sit there. If you want to make a new squad, you can also hit the new squad button. And if you want to put people in a squad, you can just click on their name. You can pull people from one squad directly into another squad. You can click on them again to remove them from a squad. You can click on the X here to also remove them from the squad. It's important to note that the squad that they're in is listed under their name, and if they don't have a squad, it'll say no squad. The last thing in this tab here is going to be the Equip Squad button. This is not currently functioning, but later on we will be able to equip our squad members all at one time with a squad and equipment loadout. Now we can talk about the loadout here in just a second. So by clicking on someone's name up here in the top right, or clicking on their name here, it'll bring up this character or the creature panel. Inside the creature panel, you have items, equipment, details, and health. In items, you will see a list of everything that they're wearing, as well as a list of everything that they are carrying. In the equipment tab, you will see everything that is assigned to them. And then you will also see other items that are not assigned to them that you can give them. So if I unassign this club, you will see the club over here. You can use this search box here to type out club, and the club will appear. You can also use the search box to type out a quality, and the quality will appear down here. So it'll bring up everything of a decent quality inside of this panel. Now, if I want to go ahead and equip a loadout on somebody, your loadouts are set by hitting this edit button here. You can, you can create a new uniform and hit edit and change what is inside of that and determine how good the armor can be, or the clothing can be, or the weapon damage can be for that loadout. So you can kind of fine tune different loadouts for different groups and squads. So we can go back to here, and I'm going to make sure I drag this all the way up because I'm only really going to have one loadout for this tutorial series. And as long as they just equip the best thing they can equip that falls under these categories here, then I'm happy with that. Now, important to note, I mentioned this before, they will always look for what's in this category or in this column first. And if they can't find what's in this column, they will search the second column. And if they can't find what's in both of these columns, they will search the third column. For things like utility, they can wear all three. So I could have a buckler here, and they will wear ammunition, and a buckler at the same time. Or I can have them wear 3 loads of ammunition. The same thing with the cuirass and a shirt. They can wear a shirt all the time with any other equipment. The details tab of the creature panel will show you their highest skills, what faction they belong to, how old they are, and then all of their traits with their perks and what they like and what they dislike. You can also click this button to rename a creature. And he's been renamed. So that concludes the military panel. The next panel we're going to look at, the next overlay mode we're going to look at is the water mode. The water mode will show you guys all of the fresh water in the area around you. I want to reiterate again, even though this says freshwater 889, that is indicative of how many tiles the water is taking up, not how much water is in the pool. It's important to note that you can click on the pool itself and see how much is in there. But another thing to realize is that it only selects the top layer. So if I come down here and bring my Z level down to this level, and then I go down one more, I can select another layer of water underneath the layer above it. So all of these layers of water hold a different amount of water in them. So just because I'm up here, this layer does not include this layer, or like each layer is independent. So this is independent of this, and this is independent by itself. So that's one thing to take into account, is that each layer of water has its own size value. Also, it's raining right now, so we will be able to refill freshwater pools with rain. So if it's raining, any open or exposed water to that is fresh water, it will automatically refill. It will only fill up to the max level of the current height. So this water will not continue to fill up and then overflow. Additionally, if I drain this entire level of water and then I have all the water down here, it will not fill up past this again to refill the area above it. So if I drain all of this water, then it will not refill. Moving on is the rooms mode. Now I don't have any rooms built. I'm going to double click on Eddie to bring me back over to him. And we'll build a room really quick. I'm in the rooms panel here, the rooms mode. I can click on this area. and it'll highlight the entire room. Now, this room panel will show me the temperature inside the room. It'll show me the quality of the bed. It'll show me the quality of the decor. It'll show me the size of the room, and it'll show me the quality of the walls and floor and the quality of the lighting. So you can increase all of these numbers by either building higher quality items, adding more decor, increasing the quality of the walls, and then putting lighting in there or having windows. All of these will fill up your number here. So this is, for instance, if I want to replace the walls with metal reinforced walls, and I end up spending metal reinforced walls here, and I replace the walls and I replace the floor, and I close this out and I reselect it, you'll see that my quality for my walls and floor went to 10 out of 10, and now my bedroom is now a decent bedroom, and the score has gone up to 30. Max score is possible 100, and the higher this gets, the higher the mood bonus gets. So when your colonists sleep in here, their mood will go up while they're inside of that room. You can do this with bedrooms and workshops. The workshop bonuses that you get provide increased speed and production, as well as an increase in quality when you're using the workshop. So for output items that you get from crafting in the workshop, they can be a higher quality because of that. So it's very wise to use the rooms to your benefit and use workshops to your benefit. The last overlay panel we're going to look at is the prospecting panel. In this prospecting panel, you'll have a list of ores that appear here. These are populated by your miners. When they're mining, they have a chance to gain a prospect or prospect the ore around them in that area. They are indicated by the blocks that you see here when you're in this menu. If you click on one of them, it will take you there by camera and show you how far you are away from the named ore. So this is saying there are large chunks of this ore less than 4 meters from the prospect. So that's how you kind of determine which way you need to go to find the different ores you need in the game. That basically covers the overlays panel. The next section we're going to cover is the top right section up here of the UI. I'm going to go ahead and just call this the data panel or info panel. In this panel, you will see a number here. This number indicates your Z level. This level is associated to the level that your camera is on. This number can go as low as 0 and as high as 255. That is all the different levels that you can build or dig through. The next item here is food. This item and number indicate how many cooked pieces of food are available for your colonists to eat. This will not show raw food. The next determines how many cooked drinks or made drinks that your colonist has available to eat or drink. The next icon here is indicative of how many crops you have either available to be planted or are currently planted. So if I add more farms, this number is going to reflect how many crops I have total within all of my farms. And then the final icon here is going to show you how many idle workers you have out of how many total workers you have. This is a good way to track if you have enough jobs for your people to stay busy or if you're not giving them enough jobs to do. Lastly, we have our colonist panel here, which will indicate every single colonist that is in our colony. As this list expands, you will be able to scroll up and down this list to find who you need. Just like that. So we've had a kid. This is a perfect time to explain this. So we have a new birth. Now what happens when we have a new birth is we get to pick traits from his mother or we get to pick traits from his father. These traits come directly from the parents. So it picks 2 traits of the 3 traits that each parent has, and you can choose which ones you want to get to mold your colonist or colony as a whole towards what direction you want it to go. Oh, I need somebody, that has this trait so I can do this job. I'm going to try to make, these 2 people have a kid, and I'll use these traits if I get that from the parents. For me, I don't really care which one it is right now. I'll just go ahead and take it. Moving forward, we have the jobs panel here. In this jobs panel, it's important to know two things. One, the higher the number, the more important the job. Additionally, this panel and your workers work from left to right. So if I have 2 jobs with 6, they're going to do the farming job first, and then they'll do the cooking job. It's okay that I have a 4 here, because 6 will always take precedence over 4 from this panel. So they will always do farming, and then they will do cooking, and they will do mining, and then they will do hauling, and then lastly they will do herbalism, according to how this is currently set up. Across the top here, you have a list of all the different jobs. If you click on one of these, it will tell you all of the jobs that have been recently completed. It will also tell you any issues that you've had with the job. So if there's a problem, say for whatever, you run out of seeds or they can't reach a job or X, Y, or Z, that issue will appear here. And if there is an issue, or if you just want to see what they're doing a job at, you can just click on the job and it will navigate you to that particular job. The make item panel. This is a panel I see a lot of people struggle with because they don't really know how to manage it too well. Along the left side here, oh look, another kid. Extremely calm, extremely fertile, or scholarly and imaginative. I don't need scholarly or imaginative. I'm going to take calm and fertile. She'll have lots of kids later on. Along the left side here, you will have a list of all of your currently built workshops. So as you build a new workshop, it will be populated here. If I click on a workshop, it'll give me a list of all researched items that I can build with that particular workshop. If I click on carpenter, for example, and I want to build a stick, it'll tell me what components I need, and then what components are available to make that item. So if I don't want to use banyan logs, I can uncheck banyan and only use cowpox logs to make the sticks. Down here, you can set the priority, the quality, and the quantity. The higher the quality you set, the more resources it's needed. So you can see that I have a 4 times quality here. So now I need 4 wood instead of 1 wood as a base stick. Or I can set a double quality, which needs 2 wood instead of 1 wood. Now what this means is that if I go to double quality, I will get a quality bonus on that item of 10. So whatever I would have normally crafted at 1 quality or normal quality, I will get an additional 10 quality points, which makes the item more valuable and stronger, and you can use that item then to produce better quality, higher tier items. And on quality 4, it uses 4 times the amount of materials as it would normally would, but you get 25 bonus quality points. And there's another kid, greedy and industrious, methodical, industrious. I will take greedy and industrious. Another cook is always good. And then obviously you can set the quantity you want to make. You can either set this to maintain 100, so as you use sticks and you go below maintaining 100 sticks, they will automatically come back and craft more sticks. Or we can say, you know what, I don't need to maintain sticks, but I do need 100 sticks, so I can just order 100 sticks right now. And then you will see, oh, well, I have one order of 100 sticks. You can have a maintain order and a one-time order simultaneously, and they will work in tandem. So something to notice here is that you can change between a one-time order and a maintain stock order here. You can also change the priority of the job. Now, I recommend keeping almost every single thing, every stockpile, every job, every craftable item. I would just keep it at normal priority. Unless it's an absolute emergency and you need something right then and there, this will affect what jobs they do. So they will stop doing other jobs to make sure that they can do whatever they can do to facilitate this job being done. So if you set this too high, or if I set my stockpile, to a maximum priority, then they're going to do everything in their power to just focus on making the stockpile. And a lot of people forget about setting things to max priority, but it's really not needed all that much. Very, very few instances is it needed. I highly recommend you will have a smoother playthrough if you just keep things on normal and use the critical or high priorities as a last resort if they are absolutely needed to be done. The next panel here, we'll talk about the stockpile panel. Now this is going to be updated, and eventually this will be on the screen here, and you'll be able to see all of the items you have in real time, all the time, so you're never guessing or having to open up a panel to find out how many of what you have. But currently, you can click on the down arrows on these. It'll bring up all of the items that are in that category, and then it'll show you how many of those items you have. And that goes the same for all of these. In here, the find items on floor. Here you can type out an individual item, and it'll bring up any number of items you have that are that have that name, or you can type out a quality, and it'll bring up all the items of that quality. Now you should be able to type out decent stick, and it should only bring up decent sticks, but I think that may have broken with the latest patch, so we'll get that fixed. But just know that this functionality is here, and you can do this, as well as you can do this in the trade menu also when you're trading with an enemy, when you're trading with a neutral faction. The next tab is going to be the factions panel. In this factions panel, it will list all the names of the factions you have come across, how many bases the faction that you have met, how many bases they own. It'll show you the total population of that faction, any traits they may have. Their traits may influence who is the best individual to be the emissary when they come and visit. If they have a trait that likes a particular character type or character trait that one of your characters have, that character will interact with them better, and you have a better chance of making them friendly instead of enemy when they first meet. And then it'll give you your attitude here. Your attitude is a direct reflection from -100 to +100 of how much they like or hate you. So pretty straightforward. The next panel here is one that I cannot wait to get reworked, and I'm in the process of designing this to make sure it happens. But you will have a full list that is scrollable as this list fills up of all of your colonists. You can click on a colonist, and you can see your parents. It'll show who their partners are. It'll also show their kids. It'll show their friends, and it'll also show rivalries. Next to each person, after clicking on somebody at the top, it'll show this. So Callie's partner is Will. She likes Will. She has a feelings quality of 52 for him, and she finds him a 35 attractiveness, and he finds her -41 attractive. So he doesn't like her very much. He thinks Callie's pretty ugly, but that's okay. Sometimes, you know, you're not in it for looks, which is fine. And this will hold true for all of the individuals all the way down. Another thing you can do in this panel here is if you have a trinket, you can see that I have a decent cowpox trinket in here. Now, I want Eddie to give this trinket to somebody. On the right side here, it'll tell you the percentage chance for that gift to succeed. If it succeeds, you will see that Kelly Huff accepted the decent trinket from Eddie. What that does is increase the feelings and probably increases the attractiveness between Callie and Eddie Edison. Where the heck Ed? I don't know. Oh, I'm selected on Eddie. Actually, did Eddie die just now? Eddie may have just died. Eddie Edison died in battle. I didn't even realize. Well, it's okay. No big deal. So we can go to Callie. We can click on this thought bubble here, the detailed thoughts, and we can see all the good events that have happened. So we see here that Callie received a gift from Eddie. That gift increased her mood, but it also increased how she felt about Eddie. So if you want some people to like each other because you say, oh, this guy's got good traits and this guy's got good traits, and I want to breed them because I want their kids to have these traits, you can use the gift system to make them like each other, and then put them in a room together, and maybe they'll have some babies. And then the last thing here is the research tab. The research tab, we've covered this before, but if I click on a research way down here and I hit research, it will research all of the required items to get to this research and then research that research. So you don't have to click this and click research and then click this and click research and click this and click research. You can just click at the end if you want and click research. And then you can switch it whenever you want to, however far you want to. It'll save your progress. So don't be too worried about that. So we've gone over these 3 areas here. Now we have this panel down here. This is going to be the last panel we're going to cover, or we'll cover this area, and then we'll call the tutorial finished and done with, and then we'll be able to move on to episode 4 when we're talking more about gameplay and how to utilize all this while you're playing. So we have this, look at these kids I'm having, that's amazing. So we have the Digg panel here. You can change the depth of your Digg panel all the way up to a maximum of 8. If I click this and dig somewhere, it may only appear like there's 1 block there, but if I scroll down, I see that I have 8 dig jobs that are now listed there. Consequently, if I right click on that, it'll get rid of all those dig jobs. That can be as big as 8 or as small as 1 block. You can also set the priority for the job here. But once again, I would recommend leaving all of the jobs and everything on normal. Stockpile. Now, I'm going to be working on updating the presets for these stockpiles here for you guys. So here this week sometime these will all be updated, and you should have a pretty decent covering of stockpiles to cover pretty much all situations. But you can hit edit presets and you can create a new preset and say, I'll call this a Mason workshop, and I can hit edit. And I want to make a stockpile that I can put around my masoning workshop, and that will only include items that the mason workshop needs. So I know the mason workshop uses raw materials, and the raw materials that it uses are natural rocks to make bricks, because that's all I have researched right now, or it's all I had researched. So I can say I want to use raw materials, and the raw materials I want to use is I want to use natural rocks so I can make the bricks. So that's all you have to do for that. You can also click on this color over here and change the color of the stockpile to color code it however you want. So I have now a mason workshop stockpile. I can go ahead and just make sure I find my mason workshop, which is right here, and I'll just drag this stockpile out. And now I have a mason workshop. Oops. That's incorrect. I'm a moron. Don't just do what I did. So I'm going to go ahead and there's 2 ways to do this. One is you can just click on the stockpile and you can go to the drop down menu here, and then you can change the stockpile like that. Or you can delete the stockpile by right clicking and holding it down and dragging over it while you have the stockpile button selected. You can change this in the list to Mason Workshop and then left click and drag, and it'll build that stockpile. Something to note here is that if you build a stockpile and you have used barrels equipped, or excuse me, used barrels enabled, you can build barrels and they'll put the barrels on the stockpile, and you can put more materials inside the barrels than you can on just one square. That's how you use the stockpiles. The next one is harvest plants. Now, I'm sure you guys all are pretty obviously familiar with this. If you hit harvest plants, it'll bring up all the plants around you in the area. You can left click and drag over it from plants, and then your colonists that are marked for the job of herbalism will come over here and they will harvest these plants. Some plants continually produce fruit throughout the year, and they don't get destroyed when they're harvested. But just say, oh man, I have all these plants growing around my base and I don't want them in here anymore, but they're the type of plants that regrow. You can just toggle destroy plants here and then highlight the plants you want to destroy. It will harvest them and then destroy them. That's a good way to get rid of plants. Pretty straightforward. Next one is harvest trees. Pretty self-explanatory. Click on it and left click and drag over the trees you want to harvest to produce wood. Place farm. In order to place farm, all you have to do is click what type of farm you want and then left click and drag, and it'll place a farm down. Now these farms have to be sown So they have to have seeds to put in this farm, or nothing's going to grow. So they have to take the seed, plant it, and then wait for it to grow, and then harvest it. A farmer will do that, and herbalism will not interact with this at all. You can say, oh, I have this farm here, and I just want to grow anything on it. It doesn't matter what is on there. I just want it to always be growing something. You can select all the checkboxes that you have available, and it'll put whatever seed you have available, it'll put in that farm, and it'll grow all of those things. Moving on, we have the Hunt tab here. Hunt will show any kind of animals that are around the area, and you can left click and drag, and then that animal will be marked for hunting. So if you have anybody that has the hunter job, they will go and they will find that individual and they will hunt it. So you can put this up if you want all the way to 6 and leave it there. And very rarely, if you want to, hunt an animal for some wool or for some meat or for whatever reason, you can set them to hunt. Consequently, this will also affect your hit chance with the ranged weapons as your hunt skill goes higher. To caveat off of that, if you have somebody that has a ranged weapon and they're using ranged weapons, it will also increase their hunt skill. The next one is tame. You click the tame button, it'll show you all the animals around you that you can tame. So right now I see these sheep that are over here. If I want to tame a sheep, I left click and control on it. It'll mark the sheep for taming. Anybody that's doing the husbandry job will be able to tame them. Now, things that are important to note is you have to have the workshop built for it. So you have to have an animal pen built for it. And I would also recommend that you put a fence with a gate in there so your sheep just don't wander away. The next tab here is the walls tab. This is how you build a wall. You can change how high your walls are going to be built. So I can place a priority of 8 walls, but make sure you understand that they can only reach 1 block above the current level they're sitting. So they can't build all 8 of these high. They have to be able to reach it. So you can build a ladder. You can build walls 1 level at a time, and then kind of like build a step ladder up to the next level and just keep adding a row as you build the walls higher and higher. There's multiple ways to get around doing that, but that's how you do that. To select what material is built out of, you can just have these drop downs here, and whatever items are checked, they will use those items to build whatever wall job you submit next. So if I don't care what they build it out of, they just need to build a wall, I can just say, hey, I don't care what you build it out of, I'm going to build a wall right here, and they will build these blocks out of any one of these materials, whatever is easiest for them to get. That's how that works. You can also, once you build a wall, click on it, and you can hit replace. And what that means is you can basically say, oh, I want to replace these dirt walls here with actual walls, and so I can just left click and hold, and it'll replace the ceiling walls if they can reach it. Additionally, you can cancel that by right clicking. You can cancel dig jobs. You can cancel build jobs by right clicking and holding and dragging on the blocks to get rid of them. You can cancel I don't know why the word escapes me, wood cutting jobs by going to harvest trees and holding right click and dragging. Basically, if you make a job, you can go back to the same panel and then hold right click and drag back over the same job you made, and it'll get rid of it. One other cool thing that I will show you guys is that maybe you get a little bit faster at building stuff or placing walls, and let's just say I don't want to have to come up here and hit replace every time. You see how my box sits above the roof? If I hit Q, my box will sit into the roof now. And what that does is it toggles this on and off. So if I press down Q, it will toggle this as long as I'm holding it. If I release it, then it will not toggle it anymore. So I can basically just hold Q, drag, and replace all of those and let it go. That way I don't have to come up here and toggle that by myself every single time I want to do it. Next one is furniture. This will give you all the furniture that you can build that you currently have researched. The only thing that I really want to explain here is the quality. If you set this to legendary quality, It will only use materials that go into that particular item that are a legendary quality. What that will do is increase the quality of the item that you build up to a maximum quality of 100. If I go in here, example, into our room, there's one more thing I want to show you. If I click on the bed, you can see the quality of the bed is currently 0. I failed at building it, but honestly, I spawned it in, so it's going to be 0 quality anyways. It affects the room quality, or it will give you the room quality total here, which will give you the bonuses here as well. You can open that up there again. It'll tell you who the owners are, so who's sleeping in that bed, and how much health the item has left. But another thing a lot of people don't know is that you can hit the upgrade button, and if you have the cloth and the planks or the ingots, they will come in here and they will upgrade this bed, which they should do here in a second. If I don't have the cloth, so they won't do it. But they will upgrade this bed, and that will increase the quality. And you can do that one time for almost everything you can build. Additionally, you can cancel that upgrade, and then furthermore, you can mark beds to be a hospital bed, and that will be used strictly for caring for patients, or you can set it back to normal bed. So that's how that works. Basic workshops all work the same way. You can upgrade them, you can change the minimum quality items you want to be used to build them, as well as you can make rooms for them, which give the workshops bonuses. Same thing for advanced workshops. Miscellaneous holds miscellaneous items that you can build. Decor holds decor. You use decor items inside of rooms to increase the quality of the room, to increase the room bonus. And then we have waterworks, which have just recently been implemented. I haven't played around with these all too much, but we can use waterworks to pump one source of fresh water to another area, or combine sources of fresh water. And that's about it. That's all I've got for the Embark series, Tutorial 3, covering the UI elements in the game. If you have any questions, leave them down below, and stay tuned for Episode 4.